Hello. So today I want to talk about that whole idea of too much and owning the brilliance of your too muchness. That too much part of you is your light. That's your inner light. It's meant to shine. It's meant to come out and be seen by the world. I want to talk about breaking free from those societal expectations that you dim your light. As women, we're kind of taught to shrink from our light, from our brightness. We're not meant to be so illuminescent. We're supposed to be quiet and meek and polite and speak when we're spoken to, and all of these things that have taught us to be modest and not outshine other people. We're called too dramatic or too sensitive, or we take things too seriously, or we're too emotional, we're too assertive. All of these contradictions of how we're supposed to be, when in fact how we're supposed to be is our own true self, whatever that is, in whatever form that expresses itself. So we need to let go of that fear of judgment, because that leads to self-silencing. That leads to us shrinking back and not living to our full potential. And I can speak to this in great detail with myself. I have diminished myself because those around me were overly talkative or attention hogs and decided that they needed to have all of the attention. So it was easier for me to distance myself from that energy and give myself some breathing room to be able to be who I really am. Now, I'm what would be called an extroverted introvert. I love talking to people. I love being out there in the world, but I would prefer to be around a small group of people, have a conversation about all kinds of things. I love deep intellectual conversation. I love being able to express myself. And when those around you are telling you that you're too bossy, you talk too much, you are telling people what to do instead of listening to them, we kind of shut down. I know I did. I shut down, and I figured, well, it's not proper for me to act as my true self. And that stifled everything about me. That conditioning and that feeling that I couldn't be myself stifled my joy, my creativity, my individuality. I wasn't able to be me. I had to be what everybody else expected me to be. Because of that, I didn't celebrate those parts of me that really needed to be celebrated. The parts of me that I recognize now as a sign of being too much. That brilliance, that passion, that creativity, that ability to see a problem and have an answer for it, or have a solution for it, or have another way of looking at it to be able to brainstorm a solution. Those are my brilliances. Those are things that I'm really good at that I didn't allow to be shared with the world because I felt like all of these things were shutting me down. Recognizing that I'm more spiritually attuned, I'm more in tune with myself, with source, and that when I feel moved to act on something, I have the wherewithal and the self-assuredness and the confidence to move through those things with curiosity and say, hey, is this something that is beneficial? Is this something that works for me? Is this something that works for the world around me? And not judge it as something that maybe it does work for them, but because it's too much, I shut it down. Now I recognize that, no, I need to be able to read that and see, yes, this is something that I can share. Now I have to also understand that there are going to be people out there that don't want to hear it. And that's perfectly fine. This YouTube channel is a perfect example. Any YouTube channel is a perfect example. If you don't like what you see, we have the choice to be able to go away from it, shift away from it. But as women, we have to be secure in ourselves to know that when we share ourselves with the light, when we share our light with the world, it's not only okay, it's necessary. We have to be able to allow the world to share in our light. That way, everything else gets brighter, not just us, but those around us. When we shine our brightest, those around us shine brighter. We need to reframe that criticism so that it's more of a confirmation that we need to shine brighter. When somebody tells you you're too much, tell them you're not shining bright enough. You want to see too much? I'll show you too much. I know that's a controversial way to look at it, but I want you to think about this, because if somebody tells you that you're too much, they're not shining their brightest. So how are they going to shine their brightest when you're dimming yourself as well? Reverse that, flip that, change that narrative into something that maybe for that particular person, you don't hang around them anymore. You could become more self-secure, knowing who you are. And they see you having the confidence to be too much. Maybe they'll break out and they will be too much as well. If not, that's okay. They can do what they want to do. But don't allow it to dim you. Don't allow it to tear you down, to push you into that darkness. Be bright. Create that little spark and nurture it to become a huge, massive bonfire that lights the world for more people around you. So you've got to embrace that. Embrace that part of you that wants to shine, that wants to be out in the world. Even if you're somebody who's an introvert who doesn't like being out in the world, there's something about you that needs to be seen. There's something about you that needs to be shared with the world. And it could be in so many different ways. So many different ways. So many people think, oh, if I need to share myself with the world, I've got to be out in the world. I've got to be on social media, or I have to be somebody who's in front of a bunch of people. I have to have this huge following of people to be able to shine my bright light. But that's not the case. There are some brilliant introverts. Oh my gosh, who popped into my head was Albert Einstein. He wasn't really an out kind of person. He was very much kind of like being by himself and thinking. Came up with brilliant, holy crap, revolutionized science. So what is it that you can do as an introvert? Maybe you like thinking. Maybe you like working through problems in your head. And you come up with this brilliant solution for some problem that we have in the world. You need to share it. So it may not necessarily be getting out into the world around a bunch of people, but it's something that is within you that needs to be shared. That role of creativity and that joy that comes through that transformation of you getting out into the world and sharing yourself is your soul's truth. Allowing for that joy, allowing for that playfulness, that fosters that healing and that growth that you need to be able to shine brighter. That transformation only happens when you allow yourself to light up. It only happens when you allow yourself to say, you know what? I don't care what you think. You have every right to your opinion, but it doesn't have to affect me. It doesn't have to dim my light because you feel that I'm too much. When you're working on rewriting your story, rewriting that narrative, you need to do it around your successes, right? So stop minimizing your accomplishments. Dimming your shine does nothing to help you to reframe and rewrite that story. When you acknowledge your achievements as reflections of your inner power, you're reclaiming your story. You're reclaiming your story of boldness, of resilience, of brilliance. You're rewriting this story in a powerful way when you allow yourself to shine bright. The world benefits from you shining unapologetically. Your light inspires others to step into their power. It allows others to live more authentically because you're living authentically. Those ripples of positive change go far and wide. You doing something that affects one person will affect that next person, because that chain reaction that you don't see the consequences of, whether it's negative or positive. Personally, I would rather have a positive chain reaction than a negative chain reaction. So even when it's difficult for me, even when I'm not feeling it, and I've got to psych myself up, I still want to go out into the world and create some positive impact. Even if it's I'm having a bad day and I go to get myself a coffee at the coffee shop, I still smile at everybody. I may be feeling like shit inside. I may be having the worst headache ever, but I'm still going to smile to everybody. And it's not because I'm trying to be fake. I'm trying to pretend that everything is okay. Because if I pretend and I smile, my body is going to affect my mood. You're smiling, you're shining, you're showing the world that regardless of what's going on inside, sometimes I just need to be bright. Wearing brighter colors helps me. It may not be your thing, and that's fine. But do what you need to do to open yourself up to allowing yourself be more of who you are meant to be. That too muchness needs to be more. It needs to be a lot more. If we allow the darkness and the negativity of the world to bring us down and to diminish our light, then we can't make any positive impact in the world. And my goal is to make a positive impact on the world. Even if it's in my own small way, even if it's in my own little corner, I don't care. It's a positive impact. It's changing one person's life. It makes them smile because I'm a big dork and I'm being a silly or I'm making a fool of myself. I don't care. I really don't give a fuck. I want to be able to impact people and change their mentality about how things really are. You see so much negativity around you on the news, and media is just going batshit crazy with all the negativity, but there's a lot of good going on in the world. And if you can add to that by brightening yourself up and allowing your too muchness, your light to shine, fuck yeah. That's the best thing ever. So some action steps that you can take. First thing is write a letter to your too much self, celebrating her qualities. So, my too much self. You're too shy, you're too quiet, you're, too arrogant, too proud. No, these are the things that allow me to be self-confident and know that the person that is here has something to say and has something to share. Second thing is spend 30 minutes doing something that expresses your joy and your brilliance. I love painting. I love doing these videos. I love building stuff with Roy. Those are all showing the different areas that I'm brilliant in. So spend 30 minutes. It could be dancing. It could be writing stories. It could be whatever it is. Whatever it is. It could be 30 minutes reading some technical journal about some, I don't know, electrical science stuff or whatever. Oh my gosh. When you're doing something you love, your heart opens up and you literally, physically, your cells spread out and you become lighter. You become more light. So do more of the things. That 30 minutes may end up being an hour or two once you get into the flow of whatever it is that you're doing, and that's perfectly fine. So call out moments in your day when you've dimmed yourself and rewrite that outcome. So if somebody said something to you and your immediate reaction was to withdraw, to bring yourself in, I want you to write about that. I want you to write about that, and I want you to rewrite that incident with the outcome that you would have preferred. One that really makes your light shine, one that really expresses who you truly are. Rewrite it in a way that's very descriptive and that shows you that in the future, this is what is possible. This is how I can be. Okay. So what was that? That was number 4. Number 5, share a creative project or talent that you've hidden with someone you trust. We've got our Soul Fire Reignited community in school. That's someplace that I am creating because I want to have a space where we can share things that really light us up. It could be you're writing a book. It could be you're creating this amazing thing. It could be something simple like you're baking a cake and it actually turned out. I'm not much of a baker, so that's my thing. But share that with us. So I've got some shadow work prompts for you, 5 of them. So I'll add those to the description as well, but I want you to be able to write them down. What parts of my brilliance have I downplayed to fit in? What parts of my brilliance have I downplayed to fit in? Number 2, when do I feel the most alive and why do I limit those moments? So, when do I feel most alive and why do I limit those moments? And then number 3, how do I respond when someone compliments me? How do I respond when someone compliments me? This one is very important for you to pay attention to. For me, I used to deflect. And what I mean by deflect, I always, if someone said, oh my gosh, you look so nice today, I'd be like, oh yeah, you look great too. Which is not a bad thing, but it's taking that compliment that someone paid you and disrespecting it in a way that you don't accept that compliment. Think of it as a gift. Someone tells you something and says, oh, you look really great today. You look beautiful. Oh my gosh, you've got gorgeous eyes. And you deflect that. You're basically taking their gift and throwing it back in their face. So what I've learned to do instead is accept the gift. Thank you so very much. That's accepting the gift. And then I don't always do it, but I try to do it as often as I can, is I will give them a gift back in that, oh my gosh, your outfit's really beautiful as well. Or yeah, I do this all the time. The eyes are the mirror of the soul, right? I love looking at people in their eyes when I'm talking to them. Anytime I look at somebody and I see gorgeous eyes, and they could be all colors. I've seen some beautiful brown eyes and some really amazing blue eyes. So when I see somebody, I'm like, oh my gosh, you've got gorgeous eyes. And they say thank you back. That's them appreciating that gift that I've given them. When somebody compliments you, don't just deflect it or don't just, oh, no, kind of poo-poo it. Because you're taking that gift that they're giving you and then you're squashing it. You're basically mangling it and then throwing it back in their face. They didn't have to give you that compliment. They did not have to say that. Now, there's a difference between compliments and flattery. Obviously, flattery is not something that you want. It diminishes you instead of building you up. But when someone gives you a genuine compliment, think of it as a gift. Accept it. Say thank you. Say you're appreciative of that gift. And then if you want to, then return a gift to them in a compliment. But you don't have to. All right, so number 4, what are the fears or risks of fully expressing my light? What are the risks or fears of fully expressing my light? And then number 5, what would I change in my life if I stopped apologizing? What would change in my life if I stopped apologizing for being too much? Number 5, what would change in my life if I stopped apologizing for being too much? So you can go through those questions, those different journaling prompts, work through them. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you've discovered. Let me know an instance where you felt like somebody kind of diminished your light and told you that you're too much? I really want to know. I want to know what we need to do differently to be able to allow that light to shine. So if this resonated with you, give it a thumbs up, hit that notification bell, and subscribe. I would love to see you back here again. And again, remember, live life adventurously. It's the only way to live. Bye.